the entire country, its eyes are on the state of Wisconsin.
He's a fighter. And if you elect him to be your president, he will fight for you and for our country.
You're going to look back and you're going to be proud of yourselves and you're going to be proud of your country again.
I mean, think about what this guy said. He said he needs to get out because he's getting my votes. And I want to have my votes. This is not fair.
I want your children and grandchildren to have exactly the same opportunities to live up to their dreams.
We beat Donald Trump by huge margins. Huge margins.
It's gonna be huge, and it is here, Wisconsin today, guys. The polls open up in 1 hour. We're gonna be there live. We are there live, covering it for you and your family.
It's been a long time since we've had anything to cover. It's been 2 weeks. We got another 2 weeks right after this.
2 weeks, wow.
Oh, Rudy Giuliani's here.
Donald Trump's going to be with us a little later, but right now we have New York City's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Good morning to you.
Yeah.
So the polls open 1 hour from right now in Wisconsin. Why is Wisconsin a big deal?
Well, it's a big deal because if Trump wins, then he's got I wouldn't say a clear road, but a pretty good road to the nomination without having to worry about a battle on the convention floor. In other words, he can get a majority. If he doesn't win, he can still do it, but he's got to win something like 75–80% of the remaining delegates. That's hard to do. So today probably tells you there's a real good chance of a battle on the convention floor, or Trump is on his way to the nomination.
So they say, they look at Wisconsin, and they say, well, the reason why Donald Trump is struggling, perhaps, is not because of the last 10 days. It's because Protestants and highly educated in the area, and that is a harder demo for him to slay.
I think the biggest thing he's fighting is the Scott Walker machine. I campaigned with Scott 3 times. I think, did he run 3 times or 4 times?
No, 3, yeah.
But I campaigned with Scott Walker a lot for his election, for his recall, for his election. That's a tremendous machine that he developed. You run 3 times in 4 years,
and he'd win if he was in the race right now.
Yeah, he didn't. He couldn't win the presidency, but he'd win Wisconsin. Plus, he's got the bodies on the ground already there that Cruz just plugs right into.
How do you explain that the Emerson poll just came out and it shows that Trump is closing?
Well, or the ARG poll where Trump is up by 10.
Well, because Trump, I think, is very popular in Wisconsin. I think, absent the Walker machine, Trump wins Wisconsin.
Wow.
I think Trump, particularly since it's an open primary, hasn't he won all the open primaries? I mean,
so Democrats can vote.
Democrats can vote. You got an awful lot of blue-collar Democrats, Reagan Democrats, yellow dog Democrats, whatever you want to call them, who vote Republican a lot. They're not allowed to do that in New York, for example. So here they are. So you take the Scott Walker factor out, who I think is probably one of the most dominant figures in Wisconsin politics since Tommy Thompson. You take the Scott Walker factor out, I think Trump wins by 4 or 5%, maybe even more.
Oh, really? So they're saying 10%. You're talking about in Wisconsin?
I'm talking about in Wisconsin, yes.
So there's a 10%. People are saying Cruz is ahead 10%.
I think Walker gives Cruz 5 or 10%. Huh. You got a primary. You have to give a lot of credit to the machine. I know we call it the machine, and it isn't meant to be derogatory in any way. I'd love to have it a machine.
It's an organization.
An organization. They got the people. They got the people they wrote down all the names. They know who to call. They know what neighborhood to go to. They know to go see Mary Wilson at such and such an address. Knock on the door. Mary, have you voted? It's 4 o'clock. Come on, I'll drive you to the polls. Walker has that. Walker may have one of the better operations in the country because of the way it's been tested.
Sure. Well, what about you go back to South Carolina and you had Nikki Haley, who is the sitting governor of that state.
Right.
She endorsed Marco Rubio. Then Trump wound up winning.
But she doesn't have the machine that Walker has. I mean, she hasn't run in 3. Right. I mean, in a way, it's remarkable.
It is a well-oiled machine by now.
It's remarkable that he wasn't either the candidate or a stronger candidate, because
Walker.
Yeah, he's a great politician. I've campaigned with him, and I consider him one of the really best.
Well, so talking about what Steve was just mentioning, South Carolina, why did Trump do well in that state with evangelicals, but yet people are saying, like you were talking about, he's not doing well in Wisconsin with the evangelicals or with the
Because I think the Walker factor makes a difference. I think Wisconsin's hard to read because of Scott Walker's big impact on the state. I think the fact that Trump is doing as well as he's doing is remarkable. Now, it doesn't help him in the sense that he's got to win it in order to get that clear path to the majority.
I got something that Cruz as well as Trump agree on. They both want Kasich out. Let's listen, because they're looking at a contested convention, and they actually want to see if they can win it. In Trump's case, he wants to win it outright. You think Kasich stands in his way?
Kasich, I don't think he's a player here. The guy's 1-32. Jeb Bush was doing a lot better than that. They were all, many people were doing better. It's called you get out.
If you lose 49 states, you ain't going to be the Republican nominee. As of yesterday, we have now beaten Donald Trump in 11 states across the country. I am very hopeful after Wisconsin votes tomorrow that will be 12 states across the country.
Look, nobody's going to win this going in. There's going to be an open convention, and it's going to be cool.
Trump says it's called
very, very interesting. It's great to see them agree. Let's hope they continue to do that. But they're agreeing for two different reasons.
Right.
Trump is agreeing because if Kasich gets out, he looks at states like New York, Pennsylvania, where Kasich would have an appeal like he does, right? Mm-hmm. And if he's out, Trump figures I get all those votes, and he probably does.
And he needs over 50% in New York.
And he needs over 50%, and he needs every delegate he can get. I think Cruz realizes with Kasich out, he's not getting there. He's not getting to the majority. But then there isn't Kasich around to be the candidate.
Sure.
Just in case they change the rule and allow someone in who hasn't won eight primaries.
And get the establishment.
So I think there's two different reasons. I think Trump is looking at going in with a majority. I think Cruz realizes he's not getting 80% of the vote no matter what. But he figures if there's a so-called brokered convention, how are you going to go to a guy who didn't even compete? I mean, the whole idea of like Paul Ryan coming in, or
you don't buy it.
Well, I think that's who knows what's going to happen. Every prediction this year has been wrong. That's a hard thing to do when you have three men who have fought so hard for it.
And a lot of people voted for it.
Millions of people voted for these men.
And so how do you take somebody off the bench?
No matter how good he is, and Paul is terrific, but you pull somebody out of a hat?
Well, Rudy, there's a story out this morning that says that Charles Koch, one of the Koch brothers, has privately told some of his friends that if Donald Trump comes up 100 delegates short, Paul Ryan would be a shoo-in at a contested convention.
Clearly not going to be a shoo-in. You got too many Trump and Cruz voters there, and you see these people.
Yeah.
The Trump and Cruz people are very dedicated people. You may have a couple of waivers, so nobody's going to be a shoo-in. And Kasich's reason for remaining in is real simple. He figures he's the easy guy you can go to because at least he's contested. You know, you can make the argument for Kasich that you can't make for somebody who never even put his hat in the ring. It's like, you know, Teddy Roosevelt saying about you got to be in the arena.
Yeah, unless you're not.
At least, even though the guy got knocked out 31 out of 32 times or whatever, at least we've seen him and we've seen the case he makes to the American people. So I think they all want him out. I think they want him out because they don't want him to be the number 3 choice, particularly Cruz. And Donald wants him out because Donald, unlike Cruz,
he'll take his votes.
Has a chance to
Rudy, real quick, on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, there's an email went out from her camp saying, hey, guys, it's not over yet. I'm going to need your money. Almost conceding Wisconsin. Meet me in New York.
Well, I mean, if you start counting up the number of wins, and we do it just on states, Bernie may be winning right now.
He's got 5 in a row so far.
I mean, that's a heck of a streak.
Mm-hmm. Where's that story in the mainstream media? Everybody's talking about Trump. Why aren't they talking about Hillary Clinton's really bad tweets?
Bernie hasn't come to New York yet. Remember, the mayor of New York is a progressive Democrat.
You think so?
I don't like the word progressive. You know that. We've talked about that. I consider him a retrogressive. I think anybody in favor of socialism is talking about a philosophy 150 years ago that's retrogressive. But he likes to be called progressive. Well, so is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a lot more like the mayor of New York
than Hillary Clinton
than Hillary. So I don't know. If he wins Wisconsin with a decent vote, he's going to come into New York with a lot of momentum, and this place could be close.
Well, Hillary's not staying in Wisconsin today, believe it or not. She's actually coming here to New York or in New York for The View.
You call that a concession. Yes. She concedes Wisconsin, and she says, I got to win this one. And I probably have to win this one pretty big because I was the senator from here.
Are you prepared right now to make an endorsement for your favorite TV morning show?
Oh, that is easy. I watch it all over the country. I'm wearing my Peoria tie because I promised the people in Peoria I would wear it on their favorite TV show.
All right, very nice. And with that, you can toss to Abby Huntsman. Go ahead, toss to Abby Huntsman.
Abby Huntsman? Well,
Here with the
now give us
headlines
the
are-
news.
There you go. Look at that.
Good job.
I love that.
Particularly for the people of Peoria.
All right, let's get right to your headlines. And this is some sad news. 5 people are dead in a terrifying helicopter crash. A chopper full of tourists plunging to the ground in Tennessee. Witnesses nearby saw the pilot on fire, describing that horror.
I heard a big explosion. Me and my neighbor both did.